Do you ever think, I'm trying so hard, but am I really doing what my child needs me to do emotionally? This question is more common than people like to admit. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I help parents learn how to be calm, help their children get calm, and help them learn how to build emotionally strong families. In this video, as we examine how parents actually affect children's mental health, I'm going to share with you some key patterns that you can learn so that you can make the biggest difference in your child's emotional and mental well-being. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 key patterns that you can learn that will help you make a more deliberate decision in order to improve the emotional well-being in your family. I do believe in emotional strength, and I think people don't always understand what it means to be emotionally strong. I think there's been some confusion about that in recent years. In fact, we really might have been trained wrong as a society. It's probably not even our fault. As we're trying to understand what's going on the inside, I think we're starting to be too concerned with what is happening on the outside. This makes it so that we're actually disempowering ourselves regularly. So if parents are disempowered, then children can end up disempowered too. So this leads me to the first pattern. This is one of those key patterns that you want to be aware of because you don't actually want to fall into it. The first pattern is the emotional response leading to another emotional response. There's a classic word for this. The word is power struggle, but it basically looks like this, that, one person, maybe it's the child, has an emotional response of some sort. Maybe they're crying, maybe they're whining, maybe they're yelling or running away from their parent. I don't know what it is. Or maybe they're just not talking to the parent. Maybe they just refuse, because that can happen during the teen years sometimes. And so that type of an emotionally controlling response can oftentimes lead to another emotionally controlling response, where one person, let's say in this case the parent, feels like the child is trying to control them. Now the parent says, that's not okay. We can't have that happen. We're not going to solve our problems. This is going to become emotionally toxic around here, right? And so now the parent tries to shut it off by emotionally responding to the child in the same manner. So maybe the child is complaining, so now the parent's going to complain about the child. The child has an attitude problem, now the parent has an attitude problem. This type of power struggle response is not going to help the child in the long run. In fact, it will empower bad behavior. It will teach them that they need to be aggressive, that they need to argue in order to be understood, that they need to engage in power struggles in order to feel strong. And actually, these are untruths. A lot of people believe them in the moment, but they're not true. You don't have to yell to be understood, even if another person is yelling in your face. In fact, the person who can maintain true calmness, I'm not talking about the fake one where you're like, can you see how loud that is, even though it's not talking? That's not real calmness. Calmness is where the person can describe to themselves, you know what, that person's having a hard time right now. They're really trying to tell me something, but they're not remembering the best way to do that. Maybe I can help them. I can be patient and not take this personally as I guide them with the skills that they're going to need for how to communicate the very best. That's what a truly calm person can do. That's what a truly calm parent can actually do. So this leads me to key pattern number 2, which is slightly more productive. That first pattern where we have that power struggle erupting actually leads the child to feel unsafe. They don't feel understood. This makes them not feel valued. Then they don't feel safe because they can't get understanding and they're not knowing how to do it, right? So they're failing at it. And then this can lead to a bonding problem with parent and child. Now, oftentimes the bonding problem is temporary, but it can become a long-term problem, especially if the family doesn't learn how to fix this pattern of communication that's actually going to have a negative effect on their child. So let's talk about the second key pattern. So the second key pattern is there's an emotional response and then a planned response. This is significantly better than emotional response leading to another emotional response, because now we're not going to have a power struggle that can happen on both sides. We may have a power struggle happening on one side. The emotional response side may be trying to power struggle. But if the other person is planned and prepared for how to handle this emotional response, then they can guide the person so that they can start to get to calmness, they can communicate more effectively, they can bring them to a place of understanding. Now, this type of teaching is usually what I refer to as intensive teaching. There's two types of intensive teaching that I talk about in my TSG parenting course. One type of intensive teaching is the type that you use with younger children, where you develop a trigger spot to help them recognize that they can choose to get calmness. You teach them some systems for how to get calm. And then for older children, there's a talking process that we use. They know it ahead of time so that they're prepared for when you start using that plan to help them choose to get to a place of calm. When they lose control, they get emotionally manipulative, or they're feeling misunderstood and they're forgetting their skills, if you have a plan, you can bring them to calmness. You can invite them along with you. Just remember your own calmness in the process. Don't take their misbehavior personally. Just help guide them in the direction that they need to be going. But you will have to be consistent in that guiding, otherwise they won't find themselves there in the future. So this brings me to the third key pattern. This key pattern is going to make the biggest difference in your child's emotional reactions to your behavior. Your child will mimic whatever you do and say. Your thoughts, even sometimes the things that don't come out of your mouth, are perceived. And your child starts to process their world based on the way that you feel, the way that you think, and what you say. So having a good plan is really important. But why not go the extra mile and actually help your child create a plan for how to actually process your parenting in a healthy way so that they don't get emotionally reactive, but instead they become empowered. If you're empowered because you have the skills that you need, then they will become empowered by you just using the skills that you pre-taught them ahead of time. This third key pattern is called planned problem solving. Everyone's planned. The child's planned, the parent's planned. You have a unified language for how to solve your problems. So when a problem arises, we don't go to the emotional response in the first place. Everyone feels safe, protected, understood, connected with each other, and they use their skills to solve the problem. Now, I want to share some of those key skills with you. So the next video that you should go and see is a video called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Click on the link to that video next so that you can start learning the 4 basic skills of self-government and how to do a really calm, effective correction for your child.